This is the first session for our meta-analysis, and I'm Dr. Alina. I will be your research mentor, and I will be guiding you along the entire process till we go towards publication. You guys chose the topic. We actually, the purpose of this meta-analysis is that we need to send the abstract for the conference. That is, the deadline is the January 15th, and so we will need to hurry up with the process a little bit. So yeah, I will need all hands on deck for this project once we begin. Today I won't be teaching the whole thing today because what we need is that I take it slow so you guys have better grasp on what we're talking about, the software, meta-analysis and everything. So today I will only be talking about the basics of meta-analysis and the software. So in this way, you guys can begin with the data extraction and the analysis of the data, right? Okay, so the topic that I chose for this project is it's actually related to osteoporosis and in postmenopausal women. So we will be comparing two drug therapies for this specific meta-analysis, right? So let's just start with what meta-analysis is. Okay, one more thing. I think whoever will be volunteering for the software analysis, data analysis, you will have to download the software, which is RevMan. And I will send the link on the group, and whoever wants to join and whoever wants to do the analysis, you can download that software onto your computer. This workshop is for systematic review and meta-analysis, right? And this is when we talk about research, meta-analysis is among the top tier research, and if it is the most superior form of any research out there. So if you're part of this group, this type of research has better chances of getting accepted than any other than the primary research. All right, so the process of systematic review or meta-analysis is basically we begin with knowing or deciding which specific field we want to target on or which niche we want to talk about. You guys chose endocrinology, and so we are doing. So we know we have we have a field, we have a niche. Now we decide on a topic. How do we come up with a topic? In research, we call this research question, right? So the question, in order to come up with a question, it's important that we know the PICO, as we call it, which is population, intervention, control, and outcomes. You need to know which population you want to target when you're trying to investigate or trying to come up with a question, whether it's going to be adults or whether it's going to be a pediatric population, whether it's going to be a population, a demographic, which is dealing with a specific disease. For instance, we're talking about postmenopausal women. That is our demographic in this research, right? Or women who have osteoporosis and postmenopausal, right? And then we talk about intervention and control. See, so intervention and control, both we could denote either of the pharmacological therapies or procedures or anything we're trying to investigate to either intervention or control. In our case, the intervention is going to be the pharmacological agent, which is romosozumab, and the control is going to be bisphosphonates, right? And the outcomes, on the basis of that, we go through the outcomes. What were the outcomes of each of the studies that we will be adding to our meta-analysis, whether there were any adverse events, whether there was any bone mineral density differences, whether there were any fractures, vertebral fractures, or femoral neck fractures, or lumbar spine fractures, any of those things, or any of the adverse events that the patients or the individuals in the studies faced after they started both of the therapies. And those outcomes will form the foundation of whatever the conclusion is going to be for our meta-analysis, right? So once we have decided a question, we have a topic, we have formulated a question. The next thing is that we compile the studies that we feel are necessary to add to a meta-analysis. The first and the foremost important thing for meta-analysis is that it will only be dealing with primary research. When I talk about that, what I'm trying to say is there are different types of research as meta-analysis, systematic reviews. There are secondary research, narrative reviews, literature reviews, or editorials. But the primary research are the researches such as randomized controlled trials or observational studies, whether they're prospective or retrospective cohort studies. These are the researches that have been conducted in real time, and they were primarily or actively investigating onto something. They had a group of patients and they were investigating something, or they denoted two different groups and they studied their adverse events or the outcomes of each of the patients over time. So this is what a primary research is, and we will only be talking about, or we will only be dealing with these kind of researches when we talk about meta-analysis, right? So the way to find these researchers is that we have certain databases which are basically like the library of medicine, and these are the databases that hold all of the credible journals, papers, or any articles that you need to find. You will be able to find them here. These are PubMed, Google Scholar, Cochrane Library, or Embase, basically. But the most credible source is PubMed. And we can find other studies on Google Scholar because a lot of studies cannot be found on PubMed, since some of the journals are not PubMed index, but only the superior ones are. So it's important that we focus on finding the articles that are indexed or that are published on PubMed. These are basically search engines. Let me just quickly show you exactly what PubMed is. So you guys, if you don't have, you don't understand what I mean by that, so let me just quickly show you what PubMed is. Okay. Just give me a second. Okay, so this is PubMed. Let me just take it to the home page. Right. So this is PubMed. This is basically a library of medicine, as I spoke earlier. So anything you want to search here, let's just just randomly search, and any papers or any articles that have been published on this topic, we will be able to find those. And see, you can see that we have about 600 results here. These and any of the papers that are talking about this exact topic, you will be able to find those. So this is basically how PubMed actually works, right? Okay. All right. Okay, so once you understand what meta-analysis is, now we have a question, we have formulated a question, we have searched databases, we have selected the studies. On what basis are we going to select the studies? That's very, very important, right? So I did talk about PICO, but it's also important that we make sure that each of the studies we chose are following the exact same criteria, and they're talking about the exact same population, and they're talking about the exact same intervention or control. Otherwise, it's just going to, it's not going to make sense if we're taking random topics or random articles that are talking about some random therapies. Yes, somebody has a question? Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, is it just me? Because if you're sharing your screen, I can't see it, or we can't see it, just so you know.
Oh,
Or is it just,
nobody can
yeah.
see it?
I can see it. I think you have to change like where it has the
View.
people's initials, just go to IC, click on the other speaker, and then you'll be
Yeah,
able
I
to
was
see
trying to
the
do
screen.
that, and I'm not able to. Okay, that's why I was wondering if it's just me. All right, in troubleshoot here.
Do let me know if you can see the screen. So everybody can
You
see
can
the screen,
continue.
right?
I think everyone can except me. I'll just figure it out.
So wait, you can see the PowerPoint presentation right now that's on my screen?
I can't, but I think now I can, but I think everybody else can as well. So that's what I
Oh,
was just asking. But you can continue. Sorry.
okay, that's great. That's great. Okay, so yeah, we were talking about the question. We have the question. We have the studies. What's next? What do we begin? The next thing is data extraction, right? It's very important that we only take the accurate data that is needed. Now, when we talk about data extraction, what we're actually talking about among these primary researchers, whether they're randomized controlled trials or observation studies, what we're looking for is the results section of each of these studies. What we will do is we will directly scroll down all the way once we open the article, the PDF or whatever, you will directly scroll down to the results section where we will be actually compiling the data on the basis of the outcomes that we laid down. So for instance, we have like 4 studies. I think we have 6 studies for our topic. And we notice a trend that which specific outcome was investigated in 2 or more studies. That is the basic foundation of the meta-analysis, that we need to have the outcomes or come up with outcomes that are being investigated in 2 or more of the studies, right? So once you, for instance, for our study, we have bone mineral density, the risk of clinical fractures, vertebral fractures. So these become, since they have been reported by more than 2 studies or more than 1 study, we have taken them as primary outcomes for our meta-analysis. Now, on the basis of that, we will find data as to what numerical data they were reporting, whether there was percentage, whether it was standard mean difference, or whether it was whether it was a median, mean, median, whatever type of data they were reporting. We would take that data and we would put down to an extraction sheet. Let me just show you what extraction sheet actually looks like. Okay. This is an extraction sheet from one of my previous meta-analysis, and this is what it looks like. Typically, it's better that everybody makes this on Excel online so everyone can pitch in and I can monitor the entire whatever is going on the sheet, right? So we have the name of the study. The name of the study in this column is usually the last name of the first author of that study and the year, the title, the link of that specific article, and the type of study, whether it was a randomized controlled trial, a clinical trial, or observational study. It's mentioned in the method section of each of the researches, so it's not something that you need to find out, and it will be there. You can easily find that out, right? Once we have that, the first column after this information comes with the total number of patients. This would be the patients in both of the groups that we're talking about. So you enter the number of patients, and then we have the duration of study. After this column, it becomes very specific to each of the research that you're doing. So for us, the first outcome will start with BMD, which is bone mineral density. And then we'll have sub-column for both of the groups. And then we're going to be entering data for each of the group, which could either be in mean or percentage. It's important that we make sure that this is a certain sense of unanimous data, and the units that have been followed here all need to be same. So that's why the interconversion needs to happen if some of the data is in any other units than what we're actually considering. So I'll teach you I'll teach you that, and if once you're doing the data extraction, you come up with some sort of data unit that is not similar to the other studies data, so you can reach out to me. I will guide you on the group and how to convert that. Anyway, so you'll have subcolumns and you'll enter the data for both of the groups. And this is how the entire sheet, Excel sheet, is going to look like. If anyone does not know how to use the Excel sheet, that's fine. I can personally teach you on how to go about the Microsoft Excel, but this is the most, I think, something that we follow is Excel, not Google Sheets. It's important that we make that. All right, so this is what a data extraction sheet will look like. I will be sending that on the group as well, so you guys can have a template as to where to begin from. The other sheet is the baseline sheet. This baseline information you can find out in each of the studies, and you can easily look for the dose of the study, the age, the BMI of each of the participants. Obviously, we will have females, but you can also talk about different ethnicities if you want to. And so basically, we just talk about any of the baseline information that is available on these studies, and we can easily extract that. Once we have all of this data, we have the extraction sheet, we have the basic ingredients for our research, right? So this was the, so before I start with the software analysis, I really want to know if anybody has any questions, because after this, I just would want that everybody pays some attention. It's going to be a little bit tricky talking about the software. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, that's great. Right. So let's begin. Let me just start with RevMan. So this is what the RevMan software is, and this is what it looks like basically. Once you have downloaded onto your computer, this is going to pop up, and let's just start. Let's go to File. Let's start a new protocol. Right. Okay. So this is an intervention review because we have an intervention and control. So we'll have two different groups. This is which is called a double arm study. We also have single arm meta-analysis where we are just talking about a single group and we don't have two different groups comparing. But it's always better to have an intervention review because it has better chances of getting accepted, right? So next. All right, so this is the intervention review. So let the first group be the and the second group will be bisphosphonates, right? Or we could just simply go for an alendronate or yeah, and the health problem is postmenopausal osteoporosis. Right. So this is how we will enter whatever data we have right now. We have the intervention, we have the control, and we have the medical problem, right? So next. Now we will go for the full review, okay, and finish. So we have, this is what the RevMan page will look like. Now we need to add the studies. For instance, we have 6 studies that we're talking about the exact same intervention, control, and the exact same problem, and we're having the similar outcomes, or they were talking about exact same outcomes. So you go here, studies and references. Then reference to studies, included studies, right? And you right click and go to add study. So study ID, let's just randomly give it a name, right? So this basically is the last name of the author. So this is, and next, and then the year it was published, and this is just a example. It's not a real study. Okay, and right, next, and next again, add nothing, add a reference for, or add another study. Since we have 6 studies, go for add another study, right? And continue is going to give you another study ID. So we just talk about random. This is the last name and just something random. Okay. Next. So right now we're just considering 2 because I'm just teaching you how to use it. So I'll just go ahead and finish. Once you have added all of the 6 studies, just go ahead and finish. Now we have those studies here. Right, you can see it right here. Okay,